look at us. We're out cruising around in the Corvette street car on Friday night, yo. Wow, these headlights don't work at all.
I told you that.
How you drive this fucking thing?
You just gotta hope there's nothing out there to hit.
Apparently. Cruising around, just like everybody else's YouTube videos. You know, we're just out cruising the Corvette around on a Friday night, you know, no big deal. Just out cruising. Might do some donuts. Oh my God.
I didn't know you were gonna do that.
That was the point.
You scared me.
God damn, this motherfucker runs good, don't it? This motherfucker runs good. I went to look in the mirror, we don't have any. Old street cars. Oh, god damn, a little low. We need to get that fender exit exhaust on. What the fuck is that? It does better now. Oh my god. What is that? What the fuck kind of bird is that? A duck? A giant Howard the Duck?
Shut up.
Sorry. We're just out here trying to fucking street race. And we got a goddamn Mothman over here. If you guys don't know what a snitch bird is, this is a snitch bird. He just flies around you when you're trying to be quiet and hide. He just flies around snitching on you the whole time.
Jeez, man, come on.
Oh, look at what we got here. A little bit of, wish we had a name for it. A little bit of cherry bomb or...
We're not calling it cherry bomb.
Cherry pie. Cherry... Huh. Harry Cherry. How about no cherry? Dirk Diggler, Boogie Nights.
I feel like you're like a typical 40-year-old man and you call it the vet.
What the fuck? What about me is typical 40-year-old man to you? I mean, other than my red Corvette and my young girlfriend. Other than that, what's typical 40-year-old man? I've always just let it happen naturally, and it usually happens. Everybody asks me that all the time. They're like, you always have the coolest name for your cars. How do you come up with it? Eventually, you just start calling it something, and it sticks.
It's normally like you hang out with it for a couple days, and it tells you its name.
Yeah, the only one that I actually named, that like I actually thought of like a name for, was the Chromod, because it was funny. I got super sweet walkie-talkies and she won't even use them. In all fairness though, she says it's because the last time she used walkie-talkies, I told her to run and she went to jail. She's my cherry pie. Motherfucker, yo. Oh my god. This is like a cop. This is the greatest thing ever.
Hold on.
Are you gonna put it on your attention to the pets, attention to the pets. We got a 434 in progress.
What's a 434?
I don't know, I figured that was a motorcycle.
We got a free 80 free small box ready.
Let me see, with a stick? Oh my god, you look like a fucking snitch.
I'm a cop. I'm a rent-a-cop.
Roger, 434 in progress at starting line, please.
You know those cops when they like stand with their bellies out? You know?
Yes, I do, actually. I need to see your pass. You have your pass?
You have a wristband?
Yeah, what? See, what happened was all the bums heard you talking on your walkie-talkie, and they're like, those are the cops. We got to get the fuck out of here, man. Which lane you gonna go in? Oh, somebody was out here leaking something.
Your truck.
Probably your Escalade.
I drove down the left, the left lane there.
Man, it is filthy right there. I thought you said this place wasn't dirty.
It wasn't the branches and sticks like they normally are.
Dude, the walkie-talkies are my favorite thing ever.
I don't even have to walk around by you.
You don't even have to be by me and you can talk shit on camera. If you hear me screaming on the walkie-talkie, don't stop. That just means like, if you can. That doesn't mean like full on O.J. Simpson, don't stop for nothing. Dude, this place is filthy, Jackie. Get to sweeping.
No prep.
No. Say that again, please.
No prep.
A couple of tips would be to get your lighting and stuff set up well beforehand. Or get an idea of what you're going to do with it anyway. Always good to have a fire extinguisher. Couple of things. Have a fire extinguisher just in case, you never know. It really does you no good to have a fire extinguisher without a vehicle to take you to the fire, basically. Straight, nice, smooth, no big crazy shit. We can fucks with that. Nice job. What kind of person puts it on the trans brake in a dark industrial park, 4,600 RPM, and lets go of the button and just see ya? Like, who does that?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to make sure it shifted before I let out, but it was like never shifting, but I let out.
You were trying to make sure it was shifting before you let out? You are my favorite.
I was looking at the tree stump and I was like, are you ever going to shift? No, no.
Yeah, it's a 2-speed. I hate them. I think they broke this thing and then they probably ripped the ladder bar bracket off. That's why it was so tweaked and didn't go straight when we got it, and that's why I had to do all that work to it. I don't think it's got the right gear in it. It may have the right gear for like quarter mile with nitrous, but man, I don't see how in the hell they said this car ran 650s in the 8th. Like, I don't even know if it run that. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to look fast to be fast, but damn, it looks slow.
Man, look at that freaking big tire.
Huh? It's not a big tire, that is a small tire, ma'am. Look.
I mean, the tire patch might be small.
29.5, 10.5, 15, small tire drag. Now I know, to all of you guys and girls, all of you that are watching, you may watch that pass and think, man, that thing looks slow. And I got news for you. You'd be right. It does look extremely slow. But as I've said many times before, if you go out with everything on kill, turned all the way up, you're very likely to tear something up in a hurry over and over and over again because you never give yourself a chance of self to fix it or figure out what it was. You're not going to learn anything about the program. You're not going to optimize your combo. You're just going to go out there and hit it with everything it's got. And if it doesn't work, you don't know why or what caused it, and you don't know what to change. In this case, you know, we are taking it slow in more ways than one. I definitely didn't want the car to wheelie because even though it's all motor and even though it only runs, you know, mid sixes or whatever it's supposed to run, it has wheelied before and stood straight on the bumper. So didn't want to do that. So I made sure it had quite a bit of wheel speed in it. And you can see that from the first pass. If you watch the white letters on the tires, you know, it rotated 10, 12 times before it actually hooked and went. I can make it spin the tire or I can make it hook. That's not really what I'm here to find out. What I'm here to find out is what the motor wants before we put nitrous on it. I need to know what this motor wants and how much power this motor is going to make, if the converter is going to be even close, if the gearing is going to be even close. That way, you know, because nitrous is not it's not like a turbo or a supercharger where it's just a totally different engine than it would be without it. Nitrous is just like better parts, you know, bigger cylinder heads, bigger intake. Nitrous is just adding more oxygen into the motor as if it had a bigger top end on it, or even a bigger short block sometimes. So, you know, in my opinion, a nitrous oxide motor or nitrous assisted motor is still basically naturally aspirated, being that you're not forcing the induction, you're not pressurizing the intake manifold, you know, it's not under pressure, it's still under vacuum, and vacuum is natural. So in my opinion, it's still sort of naturally aspirated. So you got to kind of treat it that way. So, and the way I like to do it is I want to see what this thing's going to run on motor. I want to see what the motor wants. And then that way when I turn the nitrous on, if I know the motor tune-up is right, I've got nitrous tune-ups that I trust. We've gone over everything with the nitrous, the company that makes the plate, Nitrous Express. We've gone over everything with Nitrous Express on the plate system. They've given us flow sheets and numbers, and we'll go over all that with you when we spray this thing. But in order to run those trusted tune-ups, it has to run good on motor. If the carburetor's not right, if the jetting's not right, if it's fat on motor, it's going to be fat on nitrous. If you know, and that's how you hurt things. If it's lean on motor, it's going to be lean on nitrous. That's also kind of how you hurt things. I know everybody likes to go out there and they don't want to be slow and they just want to hit these things over the head with, oh, I'll just start with a 100 shot or whatever. But I promise you, when it comes to nitrous, unless you're extremely experienced with the combination you're working with and you don't mind tearing up a few parts if it happens, then you really want to start off and just baby steps, pick away at it. We noticed that the two-step rev limiter was set at 4,200 on the trans brake, but Jackie noticed when driving the car that when she went on the trans brake, the motor only went to about 3,200 and then crept up from there. That tells me it's not making power down low. For whatever reason, that tells me it's sluggish down low. You can tune a lot of these cars without ever making a pass, just by two-step tuning. So if you got a converter that'll go to 4,500, set the two-step at 42 or 4,300 or whatever. I know guys that don't even set the two-step. If their converter goes to 45, they put it on the two-step when they get to the track. If it only goes to 43, they jet it down or they jet it up. They do whatever they need to do. Well, most of them don't change jets. They change the air bleeds, but whatever. They move the fuel around in order to get the RPM up. So, because that tells you right there, you know, what it's going to run. If it won't hit the RPM it usually does on the trans brake, the motor's not making the power. I'm a little bit more used to listening and seeing how hard the motor hits the rev limiter, and I use that. It's a little easier for me. When she goes on the two-step, if it's barely touching the limiter and it doesn't sound like the limiter's doing much, it's not making a bunch of power right there. If it goes up and doesn't want to go all the way up and hit the limiter right away, if it wants to go up and then creep the rest of the way, you know, that tells me that it's not making a bunch of power down low. And I need to change the tune-up or change something along those lines. We noticed on the first pass, that's what it did. It went up to about 3,200, and it went up to 3,200 pretty quick, but then it crept up from there. Now, what you'll notice is in the burnout, it came up fast. You know, so the burnout, you can't learn much by a burnout because it's not under load. Once you get under load, that's what you're going to tell what the tune-up is like. When we saw that it only went to 3,200, right, and then crept up the rest of the way, we knew that it was iffy down low. I don't know what all's done to that carburetor. I don't know what all's in that carburetor, you know what I mean? So it's about time either I need to start taking that thing apart and figuring it out, because that's what's coming up is the tuning side of it. Now once we get the chassis stuff all sorted out, you know, then we're moving on to the engine stuff. And so I don't like to do too many things at once if I can help it. We're getting to the point where it's about time to start going through these carburetors to see what we got. If I can't, you know, look at it when we get home and take it apart and say, okay, yeah, this is definitely the problem, then to be honest with you, I want to go out tomorrow night and make hits. I'll find a different carburetor. I'll take this one apart. We'll figure it out, but there's no sense in going out making the same power, you know, not making any progress if you know that it's not going up and hitting the chip. Especially whenever we bought the car, it went up and hit the chip just fine. I know that the weather's a lot worse. Water grains when we bought the car was 30 or 20 and now it's 115. That could be the whole reason, or it could have, you know, some issue with the carburetor from sitting for a month or so. Who knows? We'll figure it out for sure. I think the rear end housing was broken at some point. Well, not broken, but I think it was damaged at some point. Needed repair. If you look at it like when you're strapping the car down or when you're underneath the car and doing anything, the passenger side of the car, the ladder bar bracket where it welds to the rear end, looks like it's been repaired. The paint's missing off of it. It's rusted. It looks almost like it ripped off and then got ground down and re-welded back up. When you do that, it tends to throw things off in the rear geometry. So if we do have a problem with the car, you know, not wanting to go straight or acting funny, I have a feeling it's going to be due to something there, and the measurements of those brackets being off could throw off the measurement on the ladder bar, stuff like that. It could throw off the angle of the ladder bar to where one ladder bar has more bite than the other because of the angle that they're at. So if they're, you know, if they're like this, you know, this one's gonna bite like we want it to, this one's gonna smash the tire. There could be a million things going on here, but definitely at one point in time they had to replace the ladder bar cross member, and it looks like something in the rear. The ladder bar cross member looks like it was done okay, and the repair on the rear end looks like it was done okay. It may just need something to offset those measurements, because after you rip a bracket off and then you grind it down smooth to where it fits and grind the rear end down smooth to where it fits and butt them back up, those distances could have changed, the angles could have changed, especially if you don't have a jig or a, you know, chassis table or something like that.